Well, here we are in Chertsey, and we're going to try and take the ATV trail network all the way to Saint-Donat. So we had a little bit of a navigational error this morning, and it took us about a half an hour longer to get here than it should have. But it's a nice day, and we have seen some nice trails in this area, but we didn't have the official trail pass, and now we have it, so we feel legal.
Let's hit it!
You never know what you're going to get when you head out for a Sunday morning ride, and this Sunday would be no exception, and there would certainly be a few surprises that would take place. So Chris and I had been down this way a couple of weeks before, but we didn't have the correct trail passes, so we had turned tail and gone home. And now, fully badged up with our bank accounts diminished, we decided that we were going to try and do this ATV trail that started by running parallel to the highway. Sometimes actually the trail was in between the north and southbound lanes, and this could potentially take us all the way to Saint-Donat.
Nice and dry, man. Yeah.
We crossed the highway, and now we were running parallel to the northbound lanes on what is a pretty well-maintained ATV trail.
Even has a green moto sign.
Now, the Fédération Québécoise des Motos hors route had been doing a lot of lobbying and had been working to get us access to some of these ATV club trails, and that's why we were able to basically buy a trail pass and use these trails. The area here is pretty rocky, so what you're seeing here is pretty par for the course. We see a few ATVs, but quite often we can go for hours and hours without actually bumping into anyone. We didn't get far, however, until Chris started to feel that the HP2 just wasn't handling quite right. Now, Chris is not known for being a maintenance fanatic.
Thought you had a flat or what?
So I think that's what Chris would call checking his front tire pressure.
Well, let's find some shade.
Now, it was a hot day, and it was early in the morning, and it was going to turn into a scorcher for sure. We had, after a few years, finally figured out that if you are going to stop and do some maintenance, maybe take the 30 seconds to find some shade.
Have you got a gauge? Ah, got one.
Brake line keeps sliding down.
15. Want to pump it? What's happening, Chris?
I need a little air.
You need to pump it?
Yeah, it feels a little squishy.
Well, we checked it. It had 15.
Which is a bit low for my liking.
A bit low on rocks.
It's gonna end up in a more bent rim than I already have.
Luckily, you use the onboard tire pressure system where when you hit the rim, hit a rock.
When you hear it go dunk, you know that you need to add some air.
I think BMW was very innovative in designing that system. Pump it, pump it, pump it.
It's not possible. PSI times 10. It can't be at 50
No.
fucking PSI.
No, it's full of shit. Now, of course, anytime you're videotaping one of your buddies using a hand pump,
Pump it, pump it. Is it actually going in, or are you just pumping it?
you could make some off-color comments, but I don't know why today. I guess I wasn't on my game because I didn't say anything.
That's wrong. Keep pumping. Keep pumping, Bill.
There's a reason why people don't do this by hand.
Yes.
It feels better.
This is why people start dating.
Well, I guess I couldn't resist.
Getting a workout, are you?
I did have an electric air compressor on my bike, but I was just too lazy to unstrap it.
Good. Want to measure it?
And at some point,
Imagine we
Chris
measured, we
should
let
start
more
bringing his own
put in.
tools.
This isn't supposed to.
Oh. A lot of leakage. 26.
That really did a lot.
You know, yeah, 26 is good. Eh?
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's hit it, Bill.
Put your helmet on too early.
I don't have a hat. Forgot my hat, so it's either stand in the shade or wear my helmet. Otherwise, I will be lobster boy. Right, I'm following you, Bill.
With Chris's front tire full of air, we headed back on the trail. We wimped out on taking that trail to the left because it looked just a little too gnarly.
All right, a little downhill action. Nice and rocky. I'm in first. Yikes. Ugh.
Quite often it seems on these trails that the nicest path is up against the shrubbery. So you kind of get used to scrubbing along in the rhubarb. This area has a few sandy sections.
Sandy.
I'm pretty sure Chris was happy to have a little more pressure in that front tire since this whole section was going to be rocky.
Wiggly, wiggly.
Up ahead, Chris was feeling his bike still wasn't handling right.
What up, G? You got a flat tire! You got a flat!
Thought something was wrong.
Is that a tube?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a front or a rear. I think it's a rear.
Doesn't matter, I got.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we get somewhere shady?
I thought something felt swirly.
Yeah, you got a flat, Bill.
Yeah, I see that.
Flat!
Fuck.
Take it gentle.
Originally, the HP2 had come with tubeless rims, but Chris was running a custom 18-inch rear wheel that used tubes.
To change that flat jack. Well, I don't think we'll have any trouble breaking the bead. Not a lot of shade around. Not a lot of shade, dude.
We didn't actually have an 18-inch tube. We did have a 17 and a couple of 21s, as well as a patch kit. So we decided to throw the old HP2 down on its side and get to work.
It's the culprit.
You think that's the bad boy?
I think so.
Where was it?
It's right here. There it is.
Oh, yeah. Here. Don't break, yeah. There it is.
Fuck, man, that
That's
did
a
not.
staple.
That did not take very much. It's just a staple.
Well, we can patch that.
Yeah.
All right.
Be easier to patch it
You want to do the break the rim and leave it on the bike try? Patch it right on the bike?
if you want.
Let's try it.
Right. Riley forgot his hat today.
Custom!
Hence the custom hat, which is made out of a wet wipe from my saddlebag. Not used, of course, but
This hat moisturizes.
it moisturizes as it wicks the sweat off of your head.
Luckily we have titanium, because when you ride a 500-pound bike, saving an ounce makes all the difference. And you had 2 meals before leaving for the trip.
So, not that one, but this one is the culprit. And we are going to attempt to remove it while it's on the bike.
In situ.
In situ, is that what you call it?
Yeah, why not?
So, and if we need lube, I have plenty of urine. Would you like assistance, or shall I continue to be cameraman
Can you continue being cameraman?
until you start screaming and bitching?
Since we don't have to worry about scratching the rims, because it's not my bike.
And because, if you notice, they are well worn already.
Well, Chris took the time to break the bead
Yeah.
by riding on it for 200 meters. This is coming off like friggin' butter.
Well, that tire is also
Pretty rubbery.
super soft. This was the IRC $50 or $55, I can't remember, special.
The Deathmaster 900.
Actually, it's been, you know what, it's been remarkably good. It was, I think, $63 shipped from the US, which is a great value considering most of the other tires I buy are $150.
Oh, it's still got some air in it.
Oh, it's still got air, so it's not shredded.
Okay, where was the hole? We marked the hole, of course.
Well, yeah, but it would have spun on the rim, so... Yeah, let's try the air first and just see how bad it is. If it's not bad, we can patch it. How is your wet nap doing?
It's working. I feel baby fresh.
At least it's white, it's not, you know, it's...
Camo? I don't know if the camo wipe market is that big. You never know when the kid's ass was clean. All right. Hey, look how convenient that is.
Yeah. Oh, and it works.
Oh, this is from here to here.
Yeah, right there. That's the culprit.
Okay. So, Chris, what else did you discover?
I think my final drive is fukacked.
And why do you say that?
Well, there shouldn't be quite that much.
That inch of play in the rear wheel is bad?
Is there any oil left in the thing?
Looks like we may have to investigate something else after we get this tire back on. Chris is making the groaning noises. That's called, every groan is $500.
No, that's a large amount of money.
All right, let's fix the flat first.
So as you can see, we had discovered that something was going on with Chris's final drive because that rear wheel shouldn't rock back and forth a half an inch. But for the moment, we were just going to focus on fixing the flat. Now, one of the nice things about the HP2 is because it has a single-sided swing arm, you can actually break the bead on the tire, pull a tube out, patch it or change it without even taking the wheel off the bike.
Always counterclockwise.
Right. You don't do the buff on, buff off method?
No. Okay. You keep doing that until you can't see where the puncture is. Then, apply cement to buffed area. Slightly larger than patch. Whoa! La 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 la.
Slightly.
Yeah. Okay. Who knows if that glue's any good? Then
We already know.
remove protection from patch. Yeah. These are good for 9 years, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
This patch is thick.
It's a lot better than those bicycle patch kits I usually bring with me.
What's on the top here? Does this come off too?
No.
Whoa! Man.
And that be it?
That patch is like military spec Trojan.
Keep the nails out.
This would, yeah. All right, it's stuck on there pretty good.
All right.
Let's let it
Yeah.
solidify.
Well, why don't we just pull the wheel off because we got to do that anyways? Or should we just leave it on?
Why do you want to pull it off?
Well,
Pop. You gonna pop? Yeah. There she goes. Good. I think we need a drink. First order of business when you have a severe mechanical breakdown is to go find a terrace.
well, it's hard to see it moving, but you can definitely hear
Here,
it.
right here.
Yeah, that's a lot that can wiggle. Well, the patch is
Patch
the
is
leak is
holding?
repaired.
Did we
But-
bring any bearing patches? We
No.
forgot the bearing patch kit.
The final drive is fukacked. That really blows.
Any last words?
Fuck.
I think Chris was feeling a little worried with the burned out final drive as well as our trail side repair with the old patch kit. And we stopped not far down the road just so I could change the battery in the GoPro.
C'est bon? Is it flat yet?
And already, Chris could see the tire was going down.
It's flat. Well, let's just try to find a better spot then.
Yeah, it's not going to last more than 5 minutes, I think.
Keep going, Bill.
A few minutes down the road, we came to a gas station that also had a corner store. So this looked like a nice spot, but there really wasn't any good shade. So we sniffed around and finally found a nice spot just in the shadow of a sign. Right after we parked, Chris set off to get some supplies.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
Orange Gatorade, which will turn your pee orange.
Nice.
And hot sausage.
Hot meat stick.
Jumbo hot meat stick.
By the Great
By the,
Canadian...
the Great Canadian Meat Company.
We only use the finest products on the Awesome Players rides. What part of the cow is that? That's the nipple. Good? Oh yeah, we got a flat tire again. Maybe we should do something about that. But other than the flat tire and the failing final drive...
Bike's running like a charm.
Yeah, okay.
Once again, it was time to lay the old HP2 down on its side. We wanted to get the rear wheel right up off the ground. Couldn't find a stump or a log or a rock, but I did manage to find Chris's helmet, and that worked just right. There's something freeing about giving up on not scratching your bike or your gear that just makes little events like this a lot less stressful. Chris is well known in our little club for not carrying any tools, and I'm kind of on the other side of the spectrum, and I'm known for carrying way too many tools. So the collection of wrenches and sockets, etc. that I carry usually encompasses all the fasteners, not only on my bike, but on all the bikes of the guys I ride with, not to mention anyone we might come upon out on the trail. I must say it is really nice taking the wheel off a shaft drive bike with a single-sided swing arm. Pop 4 bolts and the tire's off, and there's no axle, there's no spacers, there's no greasy things. You're not trying to hold on to a slimy chain. You undo the fasteners and presto, the wheel is off. We were also quite fortunate that this discount tire Chris had bought was so incredibly soft, especially on a hot day and having been ridden flat, that you could almost pull it off with your bare hands. We had the 17-inch tube in and the tire inflated in what I thought was pretty good time. Took us about 15 minutes or so. And then afterwards, in this little speeded up section, you might wonder what the hell we're doing. Well, once we had the tire inflated, we couldn't find one of the 3 titanium tire irons we'd been using. So we looked and looked. I mean, we're standing in a parking lot here. We're not out in the woods. There really wasn't anywhere for the tire iron to hide. And then I remembered reading something on Adventure Rider years ago about a similar situation, and it dawned on me where the tire iron was.
Okay, we lost a tire iron. We lost a misplaced tire iron.
We've looked everywhere, around the bike, beyond the pavement, in the bags, and the only place that it could have been is inside the tire.
Luckily it was titanium, so it wouldn't have balanced the tire too badly. Well, that's a win.
Yeah.
I call that a win.
It's definitely not a loss, because it would have been a loss when I'm going down the highway and the tire iron shoots out of my rear tire.
Not to mention those are expensive.
Oh man.
All right, let's get this thing on.
I don't know if it was mounting the tire with the 17-inch tube or taking the tire off once again to pull out the wrench, or if it was the tire iron itself that did it, but we had messed up the 17-inch tube.
All right. What's the verdict?
We got a hole
In the new tube.
Right there. Woo! Look at that spit fly!
So once again, the tire came off, and this time we installed a 21-inch tube. We still had one tube left, so we weren't that worried, and we popped the tire back on the rim and pumped it up.
Chris, is it hot enough?
Yes! It's actually inflating this time.
Woo!
So we put a 21 in.
We got one more tube left.
We've gone through two new tubes. No, one new.
Patch?
One patch, one new, and this is the third one.
I got a good feeling about this. It's friggin' hot!
It looked like we finally had a winner. Chris's rear tire was holding air, so we bolted it back onto the final drive. At this point, we decided it was probably best just to start heading home, given we really didn't know what was up with the bearings in Chris's rear end. So we got the wheel attached, and then we headed home. Despite the multiple flats and only getting a few miles down the trail, we actually had a pretty good time. And I think part of that was just due to the fact that when you've got the right tools and you've done it enough times, you're not really worried about making it home. We were pretty confident we were going to get this problem solved. And yes, we did end up with a bad patch. We also kind of bungled the installation of one of the tubes and put a hole in it. But that's kind of par for the course for us. So I hope you enjoyed the video.
Still holding air.
We thought the other one was too.
It's good. All right, let's get the frig out of here.
As always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below in the comment section here on YouTube. Or, if you want to drop us an email, head over to awesomeplayers.com, and there's some contact information there. If you'd like to purchase one of our stickers, you can buy them at awesomeplayers.com by clicking on the Order tab. And if you want to join us over on Facebook, it's not a super busy page, but every now and then we get some interesting posts from players from around the world, and that's also another place that you can reach us. So once again, thanks for joining us on another little adventure of the Awesome Players Off-Road Motorcycle Club.